so satisfying. It's so satisfying when you get when you either get a little thing, right, that you're like, ooh, this will go in the scraps because it's just a little thing, so I can make a few stripes from it or something. But even more satisfying than that is when you get to the end of that bind off and there's only like that much left and you're like, that was so good. I did so good. Hi, my name is Bethany, and this is the Knitting Through podcast. It is May 7th, 2026, and I am based in Indiana here. My home is here in Indiana, and it has just been, the last few days have been really sunny and really nice. We had a high of like 45 over the weekend, but now it's back in the 70s. And that is very nice. I realize that spring is just a time where, nature's just she's trying to regulate everything, and I get it. It's hard sometimes. So the back and forth is nice though sometimes, because that means I still get to wear my sweaters in the morning and the evening, and that's really fun. I've actually been, instead of being annoyed with like the chill that I feel sometimes, I'm trying to be thankful that I get a little bit more time in my sweaters. Today I am wearing my Leela top. I knit this from Magpie Fibers, I believe, Swanky Sock, and it took 150-ish grams to do. I did mine a little bit cropped. It's not super cropped, but a little bit. It has these tiny I-cord straps, so I often just either wear it with a bra and a shirt over it, or without a bra, because it's got like some positive ease, so that's fun. And also this shirt is from Goodwill, so that's the outfit. I also have some knit socks on, because I almost always have knit socks on. It has to be pretty warm for me to not have any socks on my feet. The only time I don't wear knit socks is when I'm working out. Otherwise, yeah, I've got them on. Since it's May 7th, we're going to go over what I worked on in April. In April, I turned 40, first of all. That feels very real and true and good. So that's awesome. I know that some people, when they turn a year older, it makes them feel weird or a little sad, or like, I don't know, negative in some way. I really like it. I really liked turning 30. I've really liked turning 40. Did a little bit of a reflection post, very short reflection post on Instagram the other day, just about how it's crazy how much life can fit into a decade. And yeah, so the month itself, though, we made lots of things. We planted lots of starters, and the flowers were just blooming. The tulips were beautiful. The daffodils were beautiful. The hyacinths, they were a little rough. I don't know what they needed this year that they didn't get, but the blooms were like, there were many, I would say like 12 or 13 flowers last year that bloomed, and then this year I would say there were probably 3 that tried, and one of them that kind of did it. And so I don't know what happened, if some animal dug up my bulbs or something, I don't know, but they seem to be, I gotta figure that out. I'm gonna, honestly, by figure it out, I mean I will see what happens next year and see if we need to put more in there, because we planted also a bunch of wildflowers on the other side of the garden bed, so we'll even see if those come up. I don't know how long I need to wait to like know if that actually happened or not. Because if it didn't happen, I want to plant other things there, but I'm hoping it did. Also, a thing that I made that is not knitting related is some dandelion jelly. Oh, It was such a success. Oh my gosh. First of all, the 4 kiddos and I went out and we foraged for dandelions, and it was such a fun walk and it was such a fun day. I learned later that you can make like little baskets out of dandelion stems. So that's very cool. And I love learning about how you can use like all the parts of something that you're using. So I would love to do that next time. We didn't pick the leaves. I know you can make salads from dandelion leaves, but I don't know if I would be. I don't like a lot of salads anyway. So experimenting with salads might not be my favorite thing. But we were just picking like the stems with the flowers, and so next time I think it would be fun to try to do like weave them little baskets. Also, it was my first time canning by myself. I have canned things with other people, but I've never been the canner in the situation. So I did everything that the online little article told me to do. They came out and only one of them didn't seal. It was so satisfying. Like, I was sitting in the kitchen talking to my husband, and as we were talking, a little jar would seal up and I would hear it go like that. And I was like, oh, like every time I was so excited. So we did a dozen of these tiny, I think they were 2-ounce jars. They were tiny. And we went through them so fast. We did gift a few of them away to a couple of neighbors and to my mom. But mostly we just ate it, a lot of it. And we blew through it in less than 2 weeks. And so when we had only 2 jars left, I was like, you know what? I'd like to put these in the basement. The whole point of this was like to actually kind of save it. We didn't even need to can it, actually, if we were going to go through it in 2 weeks, you know. So I think maybe next time we will make more. And there was only one of them that didn't seal correctly. But we just ate that one first. So it feels like a 100% success rate. It was very satisfying. And I've been wanting to do that since we moved here 4 years ago. So that feels pretty awesome. Now on to the knitting. Okay, last time I told you that I finished my November jacket, and I did, and I was wearing it. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to add the pockets now or if that would be a later thing. I often put things off that don't need to be done right now. But I'm so glad that I did the pockets. I'll show you. It's in this lovely red. This New To Din yarn held double. The colorway is Flama Karen. I did my project on a 4mm needle. I think the suggested needle size is a 4.5. Probably halfway through the project, I was thinking that wouldn't have been a bad idea, but I am okay. It's fine. It's done now, and it's beautiful. And my hair is already on the back because I've been wearing it. So gorgeous knit, so beautiful. I won't go through all the specs. I went through a lot of those last time, but I did put the pockets on. Oh, they're so cute. I actually really like the way it kind of bunches there. I like it a lot. I don't know how functional the pockets are going to be for holding things in because I didn't line them with any fabric. And of course with knit fabric, there's holes, and like if you put your keys in there, it might go through the fabric. But honestly, they might be more functional than I thought. I sewed them on. So I did it so that the pocket was like this, and then sewed it on the bottom and then turned it up. But then I just stitched it with a matching thread. Oh, can you see? Will it focus? See that line right there? That's my thread going here, and then over here I think you can kind of see it. So it's not the tidiest of seams. I'm honestly a pretty good sewist, not gonna lie. I've been doing that for a couple of decades, but I was not concerned with this being the most tidy pocket. First of all, because when I did the bottom of the pocket, I had to tear that out a couple of times to make sure that it was straight on the bottom. And every time I have to tear out a seam with knit fabric, it makes me pretty nervous. I'm afraid I'm going to cut the wrong thing, and I didn't, and it was fine, but I did not want to try to figure out how to get this pocket to have like just the inside sewn. I felt like I would have had to twist the fabric in ways that it would be hard to make sure that it was straight. So instead, I just did it on the outside. And at first I thought, oh, well, that's not the best seam, but it's, you know, it's functional and I'll hardly see it. But I hardly see it now. It's really, the thread was a lot more noticeable. I mean, I did a matching thread with it, so that makes sense. But the thread was a lot more noticeable because it looked really shiny against the wool. But I can barely see it now. So I'm very, very happy with this. Even though I'm not sure how functional the pockets are going to be as things pockets, the reason I put them on there is I'm almost positive I'm going to be very happy they're there on a day where I've forgotten my mittens. And they're just going to be for my hands. The pockets are in the pattern, but I almost didn't make them because I was just wearing it all the time. I was wearing it constantly, and I had to stop wearing it for a minute and even give myself the possibility of not having it available while I was trying to get the pockets done. And I didn't really like that moment, but it's done now and it's beautiful. And I'm going to be wearing it a lot. The reason that I cast it on last February, so this was, if today it is finally officially finished, right? It is May 7th, and I cast this on Valentine's Day last year. So it has been on my needles for over a year. Not quite a year and a half, but over a year. And I'm so happy that it's done. So officially finished WIP of 2025 garment. This is one of the big ones to check off the list, so that's really nice. The reason I cast it on is because I wanted to be a cute little cardinal in the snow. I wanted to be a warm little cardinal in the snow. So now I can be, which is great. And I'm really glad that I did cast it on, because for more than a couple of years, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to wear something red in the snow? There's something about red that it just looks so nice in the snow. I think that's part of why we love red and green for Christmas colors, right? So I'm going to get to wear it, and that'll be so great. That'll be so great. I will show you my other finished object in a second, but I'm going to continue on the same yarn trajectory for a second. I cast on a new thing. And I know I was saying I was going to resist casting on things, but this last month, there was some type of shift with me where I was like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that I have a bunch of WIPs. And it may be because I finished the big cardigan. That may be why the shift is there. I have 2 other big projects that are not blankets in the WIP pile, but I don't feel as crazy about it and overwhelmed. So I cast on a couple of things. Well, yes, I did. But this is the same yarn, and it is a V-neck Stockholm slipover vest. So I am in the middle of getting this armhole bound off. With Nutiden, I forgot that you can like twist it when you bind it off, but I have trouble if I twist it too much, then it curls around itself, right? And I don't want that, but it does make it a little bit stronger so that when you're pulling it through to do an Italian bind off, which for some reason I decided to do with this one, even though it would probably look fine not doing that with this one, I decided to do it. So it kind of tears every once in a while. So it tore here. And so I just thought, you know what, I'll just weave that in and do it later. Do it again later. I am going to continue working on the edging first because what I have left is not a ton. I have this much left, including doing the other arm and the edging for the V-neck. So who knows how much I will even have for the body and ribbing. I do have a plan that if for some reason I get to the point where I think, oh, this is not going to be enough yarn, I'm going to fade it with a darker red that I have on hand, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I extended the V. I was doing the size 2 circumference, but I was trying to do the size 4 armhole depth. And so I realized later I could have just done the V-neck the way it said, and then still done but the way that the instructions go, I would have had to just do the math for the armhole depth, and it was easier for me to just do the math for the whole like front piece and adjust that. So I did instead of doing the increases, I think for the size I was looking at, it was every, I don't know. I did it every 5, which is more than what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of a stage 3V situation, but I am okay with that. I'm okay with it. Number 1, because it looks kind of cool. Number 2, because it uses a little less yarn, which is fun. I'm going to see what I can get done on this one. I'm hoping to get the edging done. Honestly, it's like halfway done, right? And it's going to be pretty cropped. So if I do, you know, a little bit more, because this is longer than what it would be. It'll probably be here. So not bad. I might have enough yarn. What? And I don't know if I'll be able to wear it with my high-waisted pants. I would really like to. I was hoping that I could wear it with my skirts. I have this one skirt that I wear constantly in the winter that has this line of red in the plaid, and it has this red kind of underneath layer that I put on. Lining is what it would be called, but you can see it from the outside, so a longer lining. And I wore that sucker out last year. I wore it all the time. It was like my security blanket going out outfit. I loved it so much. I knew that I would be warm in it. It has great pockets, has belt loops. I love it so much. I'm thinking about making I've been thinking about making more things like that that don't necessarily need that don't have the same waistband, basically. I'm really satisfied with the 2 wool skirts I have that do have that. But I've been thinking I would really like, I think, some V-neck or even crew neck, who knows, dresses, some wool dresses. So I've been trying to figure out how to do that. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it. The thing is wool is just so expensive, and all the wool that I've used in the past has been given to me from like de-stashes from a friend, and so I value it very highly. And I'm not saying that wool fabric isn't worth the price, but it is outside my budget most of the time. So I did get some wool fabric recently that I'm going to try to turn into a sewn vest, and it is a very similar red to this. So I got this from a company called the Old Tattered Flag, and it is this beautiful hand-dyed wool. It's got some variation in it, which I really like. And I got half a yard. I thought I was getting a whole yard, but I still think this might be enough for what I'm hoping to do with it. I'd like to make a sewn vest. I have a brown sewn vest that I also wore out. Not out, but a lot. Wore it a lot this past fall and winter because my back just loses heat. I don't know what it is in my 30s where it suddenly, that was the thing. I have injured my back a couple of times, and so that might be it. That is like, listen, we can't do all the things and retain your body heat back here. I'm sorry, we can't. So I have been prioritizing basically not just pushing through and making myself super cold or giving myself different sensory issues that I don't need that energy to be sucked away from me, right? So I want to do a red one like the brown one that I have, but I want it to be a V-neck because that one goes across like a lower, I'd say it's a scoop neck one. But I adjusted so much in that pattern. I'm not even going to tell you where to find it because it was so annoying how much I had to adjust in it. But I am going to make the one that I adjusted as use it as a template for the V-neck one because I would just need to make it the same way I did the last time, but cut it in a V instead. So this I was hoping to wear with jeans, and that one I was hoping to wear with my skirts because I absolutely loved wearing the sewn brown vest with the skirts last year. It was so cozy and fun. And I have another one that's also a different kind of plaid, and it is wool, but it is too big for me. I thought I would like to wear one that was another size, that was a size bigger. I purposefully made it a size bigger because I thought, what if I wore it like over a sweater? That would be kind of fun, but it just doesn't fit well. And so I don't have the chesticles required for that garment, and it's all lined and the darts are all sealed up. So it's just meant for somebody else, so I got to find that somebody eventually, but that's okay. So the goal for this project is literally to just use up as much of this yarn as I can. And it'll be lots of fun to do. So it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying when you get either get a little thing, right? That you're like, ooh, this will go in the scraps because it's just a little thing. So I can make a few stripes from it or something. But even more satisfying than that is when you get to the end of that bind off and there's only like that much left. And you're like, that was so good. I did so good. Okay, finished object number 2, and the only other one, is this pair of socks. These are little lacework socks. I think they're called pointel lace. I don't know. I just did it because I've seen it before, and I've worked with something similar, and I'll show you the similar thing later. But I did one cuff down and one toe up, and that was a really fun exercise. I did this one. This one is the toe up one, and this one is the cuff down one. You can tell. Can you tell the way the V's go with the slip stitches? That's the way you tell, right? So I did this mostly to show how I do toe up tread heavy heels with the shadow wrap heel. Now I talk about the tread heavy heel, the heel flap and gusset one all the time. I have a whole tutorial on my channel about socks that if you ever want to make socks, if you want to knit your own socks, you could start there if you'd like. I go through the whole thing, cuff down, heel flap and gusset. You follow your slip stitches through the turn here all the way down here so that that's reinforced. And then I also do the ball of the foot. I reinforce that as well. These are we'll talk about these later. I do that all the time. That's kind of my go-to thing. But I don't like that heel flap and gussets aren't really used for toe-up socks. Which is interesting to me because I think the corner would be the same. So that's something that I want to play with. That's something I want to play with. Is if a heel flap and gusset would work on a toe-up sock. Because it's just a corner. I've been thinking about that more often. So I might play with that at some point in time. So, but this is the shadow wrap heel. I love this shadow wrap heel. I use it for my kids' socks all the time. I don't use it for my socks very often because it's not like the one that I do and I don't have to really think about it, right? I do have to think about the shadow wrap heel. Often I have to pull up Denise from Earth Tones Girls tutorial about about how to do it. She's got this great tutorial that she does just in real time, going back and forth. It's so awesome. And I wanted to show you guys, you can do it either way. You can do the shadow wrap heel either way, but you can also do the tread heavy version of it as well. So, I thought this was so funny because I started these months and months ago when I was in the show Oklahoma, because I had them on DPNs and I had this color of yarn, which is Patons Kroy in the colorway Flax, because I thought, how cool would it be to show like that you can do that. Denise of Earth Tones Girl was just talking about this pair of socks, I think called Happy Scrappy socks. And the heel is a short row heel, but it does have these slip stitches on it. So it's not, this isn't like, I didn't invent anything, even with the heel flap and gusset thing. I didn't invent anything. It's just what I do, and I get a lot of questions about it. And so I talk about it all the time. So this one, I do an inch of slip stitches on the back half of the stitches, an inch before the heel. Then you're already set up with your heel. You can just follow those slip stitches. And then when you're done with your heel, do another inch of those slip stitches just on the back half. And then you can, as I did, just do your stockinette down here and do this. But with the toe up version, you're going to do your toe, you're going to do your slip stitches here, do your foot, do your inch of slip stitches, your heel, do your other inch, and then finish your foot. Now on these, the cuff that I love to bind off with is the 1x1 Italian bind off. I absolutely love it. I love the stretch and elasticity it gives. It's so great. But that meant that after I finished the toe up sock, I thought, oh, well, I think that means I will want to do an Italian cast on, which was finicky and not, in my opinion, worth what I would normally be doing for a sock, but they do match and it's very satisfying. Speaking of matching, right? Do you remember last time when I showed you these socks and this cuff was higher than this cuff because I was like 5 rounds off? Remember that? That was ridiculous and crazy. And also they are cuff down socks, so I wasn't going to cut into them for that for 5 rounds. However, these socks, when I finished them, the cuff down version, which is this one, was maybe 8 to 12 rounds shorter. I think it was 12 rounds shorter than the other sock. I don't know how I miscounted. I must have missed an entire repeat. I will put on the screen a chart of what I did. I just, as I was waiting in breaks at the show, thought, because I was just dealing with this half of the stitches, right? Just the front half. And I thought, you know what? I bet you I can figure this out. And I normally do a size 1, a US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter needle, but I cast these on with my wooden DPNs so that it would be more time period for the show, because there were these times we were supposed to be waiting and just working on stuff. And I thought, oh, this will be great. And I got my wooden ones, which are a 1.5, which is fine because Patons Kroy is more of like a sport weight sock yarn anyway. So I did a 60 stitch count instead of a 64, which is what I normally do for myself. And it worked out perfectly. I've never done that before. And so I think I will do it again in the future because it's just, isn't it lovely? Even though it's 4 less stitches, that's every round and it made it go a lot faster. So I've been also thinking about casting on a pair of DK weight socks at some point, but I'm not doing that right now. So this is just proof to me and hopefully to you. Oh, I was telling you about how this one was shorter. So what I had to do, even though I could have pulled out the ribbing for the toe up one and just pulled it back and reknit the ribbing, I didn't want to do that. So I cut into this one right below the cuff, knit another repeat, and then grafted it back together. So now they're perfect. Now they're wonderful. I will say the toe up one has like a little bit more, I think my gauge is a little looser on the DPNs. And that was interesting to note. My gauge on 9-inch circulars and DPNs and Magic Loop has always been relatively the same, but this one, there's a little bit of a difference. It's a little bit, it's just a tiny bit. You can probably see. This is a tiny bit longer over here. So that's, I think, gonna be fine as I wear them. It's not like it's way too big or anything. And they are done. This is also a 2025 work in progress. When I pulled it out, all I had left was to do the foot on the cuff down one, and I was not sure if I was going to get my mouse switch socks done. I had so little of the second one done. I had so many things that I was happily working on, and that's great and fine. But I kind of did want to keep with this whole getting a sock done a month thing. And so now I've been thinking, okay, well, if I need a little bit of a break from the mouse switch situation, which I'll show you why, then I can always just pull out one of my sock whips and work on that. And that would be another pair of socks that I can put in the box. So this is going to be added to the socks in the box. And I'm very excited about them. Very excited about them. So there's that. Then we have works in progress. I'm going to show you the mouse switch socks. And then I have... Oh, I just realized I do have both of them here. Good. And then I have 2 new cast-ons, and then I'm just going to show you one thing that I did a step on so that I can continue working on it. I'm really glad I did. It's really satisfying. I finished this one last month, and I love the colors. I think this is so fun and beautiful. I'm doing a 2x2 just on the top half of the stitches, even on the leg. I'm just doing the front half. So this is the first one, all done, very pretty. And then this is the second one, and I am almost done with it. I've been working on it all week. Note, it is May 7th, so it's not like I was working on it, you know, when I was supposed to be. I probably had 30 rounds of the leg, no, not even that, done by the 1st of May. It was like here. It was so little, it wasn't even close. So I'm getting there. I have 20 more rounds of the foot to do and a toe. I'm very excited about it. I might even be able to finish it tonight or tomorrow. And then I will have another pair of mouse switch socks to wear. I really like the way it's kind of spiraling. I really like that a lot. And it looks very cool. Did that on this one as well. It's not as noticeable when it's stretched out, but I like it a lot. And it continued to do that on the foot the same way, which is also really satisfying because whenever you do your heels, sometimes it switches things up. For some reason, I have way more stitches on the front than I do on the back. My heel flap was only 28 stitches, but I do have 64 stitches total. So I'm very curious as to how well or how badly this heel will fit me. One of the reasons that I was delaying with this sock is not because I don't like the yarn. I like it so much. And the colors of this one I like even more than the first pair. These are beautiful. The thing that I am frustrated with, you can actually see it, it's curling. And that's because of the way that I wound it. So I rewound it, but I didn't know which direction I wound it the first time. So I think I ended up winding it the same direction, so it's still curling. So I'm going to finish these 20 rounds, and then I'm going to rewind it. And then I'm just going to put it in my stash and think, I wonder if I made it better or worse. And that is the plan. That is the plan for this sock. I'm very happy with it. I will probably wash them, like, you know, give them a good soak. but I don't think I'm going to put them on blockers to dry. I might. They recover really well when you block out the ribbing. I don't normally wear them that way. When I wash my socks, just everyday life, I just lay them over. I have like this, it just has these metal rods in it, and I just lay them over the metal rods, and that's what I dry my socks on. So I have 50 rounds here on my foot. I'm going to do 20 rounds with slip stitches on the bottom half of the foot, and then I'm going to do the toe, which is this beautiful purple. I am stashing my leftovers and minis in the box for now. I'll have a different, plan for them as I go, but they're so cute. And so I will be adding this pair of socks to the box very soon. I was just realizing that I have 2 more pairs of socks, I think, in my whip pile. And so if I do the Mouse Witch socks and finish the 2 that are in my whip pile plus these, right? Then I'll have 4, 5, 7. And that's lovely. Even having 7 pairs of socks in a year for myself is amazing, because I do make birthday socks for my kids. I have 4 kids, so that's every quarter I'm making a pair of socks for someone else. And then often I will make one for my sister for her birthday and my mom. And now my dad is in that group as well. He really liked this pair of socks that I had purchased. They had the yarn and everything, and they do it on a sock knitting machine. And then of course, when you get it, you can just add heels and toes and cuffs on it. And he really liked those. So I might just give him another pair of those too. I don't know. But I'd like to hand knit him a pair too. I think a pattern square pair for him would be good as well. Speaking of birthday socks, I have done nothing else on the birthday socks for my son. He asked for a plain pair of black socks. It is getting so cloudy and windy. I think it's going to storm tonight. So if you hear any howling, it's just the wind. Anyway, I put them on these DPNs because I went to a reenactment in Metamora where my mom has an inn there, and it was so fun. She asked me if I could knit on the porch on my dad's shop, so I put these on DPNs not knowing if I would get to it, because I was hoping to cast on something, and I did end up casting it on, so nothing happened with these. But I was also pausing because I had thought maybe it would be a good idea to do a fully ribbed sock for my son, and I asked him about it, and he said no thank you. I showed him this one, and I was like, it's kind of cool because it like goes on your leg a little bit like cinchier, and he goes, no, I like the ones you made me last year. I was like, okay. So I am going to I'm trying to figure out a way to like sneakily put in the sock so that I know which one it is. Because if he's asking me to knit him pairs of black socks over and over again every year, I don't know, maybe this is just a phase. But if this is something he wants all the time, I kind of would like to know if the first pair ever do pop up again. So I've been thinking about how to make it a little different, but not go too far from just the plain black socks that he wants. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I would love to know about it. I've been thinking about things to do on the bottom of the toes, but I was going to ask him about it before I just went ahead and did it. Okay, and last thing before the rest of the new cast-ons. This is my anthology throw. It is beautiful. I love it so much, and it smells so good right now because I took it off. I took all the stitches off the needle. I soaked it because there was like something stuck to it, and I'm assuming it was food that fell onto it at some point, or this fell onto the food. I don't know what happened, but it spent way too long just waiting for me to fix it. And then because there was something on it, I was never taking it with me because gross. But then I would just grab another thing and then I would forget about it. So I had on my list this month that is something that I needed to do. And so after soaking it and letting it lay out, it was wonderful to just see it laid out like that, because I haven't seen it like in a circle since maybe since I finished the red color, maybe before that. So it smells lovely. It's clean. It's now something I want to work on because it's so enjoyable. And I put it on a longer cord. I got a 37-inch cord out of my supplies, and that's working much better. It was on a smaller cord before. I had heard someone say that they didn't like it on a super big cord because it wasn't helpful. Actually, they just felt like they were pulling all of these stitches around, and so I kept it on a smaller cord intentionally, but I think this might be the right size. There is going to be another increase where I double my stitches. I'm at over 500 right now, and so of course where you double your stitches you'll be over 1,000, but that is much later in the pattern. I don't know at what point. I don't know how long that's going to take me to get to that part. So I added this yellow. I really like it. I'm just kind of keeping my yarn that I'm working on like in the little pouch of the, kind of like in a muscle burra way that a lot of people do that. I took everything off of the project, so I don't have my little beginning of round stitch marker anymore. I don't have the progress keeper from where I had it at the end of last year or anything, but that is okay. I really am glad that I got it fixed, and I can always go and put those back on. But also, like I said, I'm a lot less stressed out about the whip situation, and especially about the blankets. I don't know why I was like, I need to do all of it. I would love to clear my needles this year. That would be so great. And that's still a stretch goal, I think. But if the blankets are still here, that's okay. I've been wondering if changing my rhythm to doing the blankets on the weekend like I used to do should be something that I do, but I don't know. Maybe. We shall see. The last time you saw it, it was below this hole. So I finished the brown and then I added this yellow. I think I'm going to do a lot of yellow. I think I'm going to do a bigger portion like this white here in the yellow. And then I have an icy blue that I think is a leftover that I can put in there, but I'd kind of like a darker color in between the yellow and the blue. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I have more of this green, but that has, I have two stripes of green already. I have 2 dark browns already. I've got a couple of blues going on. I don't know. I think I might add another neutral in between before I do something after the yellow. I'm not sure, but the yellow is going to take me quite a while, so I'm not super worried about it. To the cast-ons. Here we are. This is my little basket that I brought with me to the reenactment. So I had my little, time period sock here, and I had my time period Sevilla shawl. I have been wanting to cast on a Sevilla shawl for a while now. I made a more beige one a long time ago, and I put anything in here that's like, they'll send these little tiny like samples sometimes in your order, or they'll even send really big ones. Like this was a whole green, I think it was 50 grams, maybe less than that. But then there are these, which I've been thinking about making something really cool. There's this one that's like a gradient, and then this one just came with an order as well. So I've got this kind of bin of smaller knitted in colors that I will someday dive into when I do some type of colorwork project. But I have the leftover, this is all I had left over from my tulip sweater, and this is all I had left over from my Sevilla shawl. So it was in this color. It had these greens and these oranges in it, and it was a nice color. It was fine, but I didn't like it as like an accent color very much. So this one I think is going to be much better. It's this kind of brownish red, and I really like it. And you can tell I started doing what I had done on my socks, but it's not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be further apart. So I actually started following the pattern after I realized I was doing it wrong. So it's just a little baby thing. It turns out to be huge, which is great. And I do have 300 grams of this one. And I think I am going to do where I try to use as much as humanly possible. I'm going to really try to do, I've even been contemplating doing the bind off in a different color. I don't know about that, but I've been thinking about it so that I can use every bit of this and make it ginormous. That's the plan anyway. And I don't remember the name of this color, so I'm going to see if I can find it. And if I do, I'll put it on the screen. The last thing that I cast on was using some of my birthday yarn from my mother. We went on this yarn crawl that was so fun in February, and I got some things. So this is a Woolstock bundle of Blue Sky Fibers 5-gram minis. So they've got all these little tags on them. I did keep the tags for these, but these are all that are left. This is 12 minis left, and I'm planning on making mitts out of these, because fingerless mitts out of them, because I think they look very fun together. The colors are very fun together. And these are the pattern, the 21 color mitts. They came with the yarn, and so I would have had some yarn left over anyway, because there's 27 minis and they're 21 color mitts, but I didn't even follow when you were supposed to switch colors. I did 4 round stripes, and so they are very cute. I know that my palms are coming out from under there, but when this is not curling, they'll be where they're supposed to be, especially with the ribbing attached. They're a little bit wide. They're like, do you see that fabric on the front just kind of puckering? I am okay with that, I think. Maybe if I had knit them a little bit, like, I don't know if I want them to be thinner. I think they're a really cute shape, actually. And these last 3 are just leftovers from my stash, and they're DK leftovers. This is supposed to be worsted weight, but I will say it feels a little more DK than that. But that's okay. There's such a thing as light worsted, yes. So working our way up, so this is, right, we've got all these colors, and I did my thumb at the same time as I did my hand. You know how people do socks 2 at a time? That's what I did with the thumb and the mitt, and it was so satisfying. I don't know why I hadn't thought about that before. I did a provisional cast on here so that I could come back and do the ribbing, because I was unsure about what I wanted that color to be. I've recently found it and I will show you. Oh, it's right here. This dark green I think will be really pretty. And yes, so I did all of these colors, which I think are 15. Yes, 12. 27 minus the 12 that are left is 15. And then these last 3 I just pulled out of my stash because they were where the decreases are. And so I wanted to just not tear into the 5-gram minis for those if I didn't need to, because I already had the plan for the other mitts. Now, there are no leftovers for this project because I am putting the leftovers into a cowl immediately. As soon as I finish the stripes on a mitt, I do it on the other mitt and then I put it on the cowl. And I'm very excited about it. It looks very Doctor Who, very colorful. I'm gonna do all of the scraps from the fingerless mitts on it as well. So that might get me about halfway. And then I'm just gonna do the other half in a solid color, whatever I think works for that. So I'm really loving it. I love all of these colors. You can see my provisional cast on here. I'm gonna, once I knit it all the way around, I'm gonna do a half twist and then graft it together. What's really satisfying is this yellow and this dark purple, maroon, whatever that is, very dark thing. Those, I have more of those in my stash, but this pink is the very last bit of that yarn. There is no more. This is the very end. And I love when that happens. I absolutely love it. In fact, I may just continue putting some DK scraps on this, a few of them, before I start the main color, because yeah, it's going to be so, so great. So starting from the bottom, I have all my colors here. I put them on this huge safety pin. So this orange that keeps curling under there is, oh golly, this might be hard to do, Rusted Roof. And then the red that's next is Red Rock. That makes sense. This green that's next is called Earth Ivy. And then this darker purple that's after that is Deep Velvet. Then the next one is this blue here, this blue stripe, and that is Loon Lake. The next one that's the yellow is Ember Glow. After that is Mossy Green and Lilac Bloom and October Sky, and then Gray Harbor, Cast Iron, Cranberry Capote. Do you say capote or compote? Northern Lights, Morning Frost, and Wild Thyme. So this Wild Thyme is the last one, and then I've got my leftovers. I am so enjoying this project. I'm thinking about, because I'm so enjoying it, I'm thinking about, because they're a little bit bigger than I thought they were going to be, lining them with a lace weight cashmere. How scrumptious would that be? That would be awesome. So I'm going to be doing that, and that is all that I have put on. I have other plans of cast-ons. I have things that I've been casting on for my daughters. Usually when I say for my daughters, it means something I'm knitting for them to wear, but this is actually something I'm casting on for them to knit. So this is a hat, a Musselburgh, that I'm starting for my youngest daughter. And then this is the yarn that my oldest daughter picked out, this beautiful raspberry color. And she's going to be knitting one as well. It might not be a full Musselburgh. We might end with some ribbing and it'll be a slouchy hat. But once I get those finished and going for them, you might not, I don't know. I hope that I'll be able to show them to you when they're finished, but you might not see them again, because they're going to be working on them, or we'll pull them out. I don't know, but that is something that I'm working on right now. Okay, so I have my little basket, and this is my basket of things that I would like to cast on that might not be on my list. I have a list, and the Sevilla shawl was on the list. The Stockholm sweater vest was on the list. Socks are on the list. Mittens are on the list. But these are just socks that I want to make and a Musselburgh that I want to make. So this is also birthday yarn. This is, oh, I always get the name wrong. I want to call them Legendary Men, but it's called Leading Men Fiber Arts. And the colorway is Hibernation. This is their Showstopper blend. which is a 75-25. I think it's going to knit up so great. I'm excited about like those rusty spots. I think those are going to be really wonderful. And then I got this sock set from Yarnaceous Fibers that is inspired by Project Hail Mary. This one is called Astrophage, the dark one. I don't know what the other one is called, but they're beautiful. And then I've had this on in my little basket for a long time, and it's called There and Back Again. It's a Hobbit inspired colorway by, I know the name of this dyer. I do. It's somewhere in my brain, and Editing Bethany will find it and put it on the screen. But then I also have the rest of my Mouse Switch yarn, which is these two sets. So I've wound up the next set that I know I'm supposed to do next, and I haven't wound up the other one yet so that I don't get confused. I will wind up the next one when I have the other ones on the needles, because I think winding up yarn is very fun. Now, the summer is coming, yes? And I will say, last summer, I really enjoyed crocheting those hexies when it was really hot. And it was really nice. But I don't know what I will be inspired to do this year. This is just kind of my basket of, hey, maybe these first suggestions for myself when I feel like casting on more things. Well, that's it for the knitting. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of books that I've read and finished in April, and they are just absolutely fabulous. The first one is called Haggitude, and I loved this book. It was so wonderful. She talks all about, I think the subtitle is called Reimagining the Second Half of Your Life, and I turned 40. And so at some point during this next decade, I'm assuming I will be crossing the threshold of halfway through my life. If I haven't already, who knows how long I'm going to be alive. So I think that I was, thinking it would be geared more towards people my age. It's a little bit more geared towards people in the third, but that is okay. I still absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I am very much looking forward to my postmenopausal life because of it. It's very great. Like the way that she talks about folklore and psychology and the history of women and all the things was just so validating and beautiful. And I think anyone who is in the going through the perimenopause thing or postmenopausal stage. I know we used to say going through menopause and postmenopausal, but menopause is that. That's what the change is, the perimenopause part, right? So I think anyone going through perimenopause or in menopause, right? Where you're done with that part, would love it. I think it's just this beautiful sentiment that women are treated like, somehow we are different after we are no longer biologically able to have a baby, which is so funny because I'm 40 and I'm not going to be having any more babies, but no one treats me differently right now. I think once it's really obvious that you don't belong in that category anymore or something, that it's just a shift that happens. And I've heard from some women that it's actually a relief to just to be more invisible, that people aren't messing with you as much. But also everything has pros and cons. And so being invisible is really hard, and people treating you a certain way is really hard. And so, I really love the way that she talked about just embracing the truth of who you are and that you've always been this person. The change from society that, is coming to, that you think that you're a lesser version of yourself. Like, you're a better version of yourself. You have gained so much wisdom, and your brain chemistry is like just more stable. I'm honestly envious. I'm honestly jealous. So so I think that would be, I recommend that one really highly. I loved it so much. She talks about celiac quite often, which I didn't even know about, and I have these Scots Irish roots that I really love and am proud of, and I loved learning about that. The second book that I finished today was I Haven't Been Entirely Honest with You by Miranda Hart. Another wonderful book to recommend. If you are someone who goes through like chronic fatigue bouts, I say bouts, chronic fatigue, it's a chronic thing. It happens over and over again. Or you deal with some type of chronic illness or setbacks that you are not in control of physically. Oh, I don't think I can communicate to you how much this watered my soul. There's a lot that comes up in a person when they feel like they're no longer in control of their body, they're no longer in control of their energy levels. And sometimes when you're in a role where you're supposed to be caring for people, like I have 4 kiddos, and there has never been a day where I thought between my husband and I, we couldn't care for them. You know, there are days that he's come home from work because I've been a mess physically. And I'm a really good trooper. But in what happens on the outside, the things that you're able to prioritize and get done on the outside is not the same as your inner world. And what a struggle it is to, like, the physicality of it is frustrating and just annoying, right? But the emotional part of it, the psychological battle sometimes of it is just so exhausting. And so hearing her speak to those parts of me was so, and she's funny, so it was like really great to be able to feel like someone else gets it, right? And has wisdom to share around it and makes you laugh like that. That was wonderful. It was a true gift, I think. And so part of one of the things we can do on our book bingo is write a note to the author of a book if we want to, you know, gain some type of switcheroo or power up for the book bingo. And I think I'm going to write a note to Miranda Hart and just tell her thank you. Just write her a thank you note for writing the book, because I think some people get a lot of like bad reviews and notes full of like, I didn't like this or I didn't like that, are all over the place. And I think when we really like something, sometimes we don't even tell the person that it came from. A lot of times we don't. And I think I'm just going to write her a thank you note for writing the book. It was truly wonderful, and I am so glad that she chose to write it. Now, as book bingo goals go, MJ has 4 book bingos. My son has almost a blackout. He has 1 more square to fill in for the nibbling bingo. Because of finishing I Haven't Been Entirely Honest with You, I have finished my 3rd book of the year. Now, I know that's, a standard of excellence that most people can't achieve, but just know that I'm still humble about it. Last year, I read so many books, and so the fact that I'm in May and I'm finishing my 3rd book of the year feels a little weird. But the quality and not that the books that I read last year were bad. That's not what I mean. But the quality of impact that I'm receiving from the books that I'm reading this year is so wonderful that I am not upset about it at all. Okay, friends, that's the end today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.